Hey guys, Fred Wellman. You know, I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and the last few days have been very infuriating between L.A. and everything else. But let's talk about one that's really bad for those of us who served, especially those a long time like I did, 22 years. And that's Donald Trump's speech at Fort Bragg. Now, my friend Chris Goldsmith and others put out videos where they talked about three main things that happened at Fort Bragg. Number one, the soldiers were hand-selected to include their political affiliation for sitting behind Trump. Now, this is a very big deal. I served 22 years. I escorted President Bush when he came to Fort Campbell. No one ever asked that. So that's one. Two, there was a merch store there right on base amongst the crowd of soldiers who had to be there mandatorily. And three, that soldiers booed political leaders in the media. Now, everyone on MAGA is saying this didn't happen. You should see the comments on Chris's video. Oh, it's all lies. But here's the thing. I tend to bring the receipts. So let's look at some receipts, starting with number one. Yes, soldiers were asked about political affiliation, and here's the actual text message. I got hold of it on Friday, June 6th, before the speech. Here is the text message that went out to leaders of Fort Bragg looking for volunteers to serve. Look at the last bullet. Here, I'll zoom in on it. There's that last bullet saying, if your political affiliation does support the president, we don't want to be back there rolling their eyes. Now, look, if these are real soldiers, they don't roll their eyes at the commander-in-chief. So that's a problem. So what they end up with? A crowd of MAGA, which leads us to the last thing you'll see. Second, was there a merch store? Hell yeah, there was a merch store. How do we know? 18th Airborne Corps themselves posted a picture of it by accident. So look at this post on Facebook from the 18th Airborne Corps at Fort Bragg. That's the whole post about the visit. Zoom into the picture there. That's the crowd. Look in the back. You see in the back? You see the banners? That's a Trump merch store. Let's zoom in. You've seen it before. That's a Trump merch store amongst the soldiers who were there mandatorily. How do we know? Well, let's look at pictures because they posted them because they're soldiers. Here's a young lady wearing a Trump chain. They were selling the white privilege card. Look at that picture. Yeah, it's real. They sold this and posted this at Fort Bragg against all military regulations for political sales on a military base. Who authorized that? Third point, did soldiers boo the media and leading politicians? Hell yeah. Why? It's on video. Let's watch a few. Here's the media conversation. It's about 18 seconds, I think, something like that. Watch this one.
For a little news for the fake news back there, the fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, look at them. Look at them all. Oh, yeah, what I have to put up with.
I mean,
fake news.
What do you want me to say? There it is.
What I have to put up with.
See the faces?
But they're all right. They've been very nice.
That's booing the media, which we swear on the oath to the Constitution to uphold and defend. You know, First Amendment's part of that Constitution thing. Second one, when he mentions Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass, again, don't watch Trump. Nobody wants to watch his fat face. Watch the soldiers who are supposed to be apolitical. Watch.
In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles.
Yeah, you see the soldiers there booing?
And they paid.
Yeah, that's real. That's our soldiers booing political leaders of another party. And finally, this is the most disgusting one of them all. Trump talks about his huge crowd. Yeah, there's a huge crowd. It's a mandatory fucking session. They all had to be there. It wasn't voluntary. It was mandatory. That's why soldiers are there in uniform. Give me a fucking break, dude. But let's watch what Trump has to say in this last one. And again, ignore his fat face. Watch the soldiers.
My friends here today, this is a record crowd. You never had a crowd this big. That's an honor. You think this crowd would have showed up for Biden? I don't think so.
Thumbs down.
I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
The president, the commander-in-chief there was ostensibly on official business, which keeps him out of the Hatch Act, ran a political rally for our troops, who then were goaded and apparently happily, many of them, not all of them, I'm sure. I mean, that was a big crowd. You didn't hear a lot of boos. I mean, it would have been a lot louder. But zero is acceptable. Look, I'm going to tell you a last story before I let you go. It's a long video. When I served in Iraq, we trained the Iraqi security forces. You can see all my Iraq stuff. And one of the things we used to do, we used to carry razor blades in our pockets when we visited Iraqi units, because if we found them with, say, a Shia martyr sticker or a Muqtada al-Sadr political sticker, we made them take them off their vehicles because we did not want them to roll into a village and have Iraqi civilians think the army wasn't there for all of them. An apolitical military is the cornerstone of our democracy, and it's being destroyed by Donald Trump. And we have the receipts. We've got the receipts. We ain't lying. This is who he is. Honestly, like I always say, guys, this shit never fucking ends.